Hello and welcome to CVR English. I'm Zinat and you are watching World News. US President Joe Biden praised the remarkable resiliency of the people of Maui after wildfires killed more than 114 people on the Hawaiian island 2 weeks ago and said America would stand by them for as long as it takes.
US President Joe Biden toured the blackened city of Lahaina on Hawaii's Maui Island on Monday, 2 weeks after wildfires killed more than 114 people there. Biden told members of the community that the rest of America stood by them and promised federal aid, as he stood by a historic 150-year-old banyan tree that survived the blaze.
Trees survive for a reason. I believe it's a very powerful symbol of what we can and will do to get through this crisis. And for as long as it takes, we're going to be with you. The whole country will be with you.
While the firestorm that raged on the island has abated, officials believe that around 850 people are still missing. Biden, who is seeking re-election in 2024, has been criticized by some Republicans for how he initially responded to the Maui fires. He went several days without speaking about the tragedy while vacationing at his Delaware beach house. The White House says Biden has been leading a, quote, whole-of-government effort to help Hawaii recover. A White House spokesperson said Biden had approved a Hawaii disaster declaration within an hour of receiving it, though he himself didn't want to travel to Maui until he was sure his visit wouldn't interfere with emergency response efforts. At a separate event, Biden recounted his personal tragedy, a car crash in 1972 that led to the death of his first wife and young daughter.
I have a little bit of a sense what it's like driving from Washington to Wilmington, 150 miles, wondering what in God's name is it going to be like when I get to the hospital. Only thing worse than losing someone is not sure whether you've lost someone. Not sure whether my heart goes out to you, Jill and I, it aches for you. Those of you who are trying to determine whether or not the person who is missing and unaccounted for reasons that are devastating.
After heartfelt speeches from local leaders, there was traditional music to round out the president's visit to Hawaii. The state's governor thanked Biden for his help and praised a response with what he called unprecedented speed. But for those with their feet in the ashen ruins, there's hope a presidential visit is just the beginning.
I'm happy for the Biden visit, but what happens after this and what happens next? We're all watching. The world is watching.
Thousands of Spanish fans celebrated with the newly crowned FIFA Women's World Cup champions. Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida announced that Japan will start releasing more than 1 million metric tons of treated radioactive water from the wrecked Fukushima nuclear power plant on August 24.
に向けた準備を進めるよう求め、具体的な放出時期については、気象解消条件に支障がなければ、8月24日を見込みます。本日の閣僚会議において、現時点で準備できる万全の安全確保、 風評対策、成り合い継続支援策を講じることを確認に向けた準備を進めるよう求め、具体的な放出時期については、気象解消条件に支障がなければ、8月24日を見込みます。本日の閣僚会議において、現時点で準備できる万全の安全確保、風評対策、成り合い継続支援策を講じることを確認に向けた準備を進めるよう求め、具体的な放出時期については、気象解消条件に支障がなければ、8月24日を見込みます。本日の閣僚会議において、現時点で準備できる万全の安全確保、風評対策、成り合い継続支援
Storm Hilary flooded streets, downed power lines and triggered mudslides across Southern California after unleashing record-breaking downpours overnight, but no U.S. deaths were attributed to the storm and fears of disaster dissipated.
Floodwaters inundated streets across Southern California on Monday after Storm Hilary unleashed record-breaking downpours overnight, forcing Juan Pfeiffer and his mother to flee their Victorville home.
It sucks to see it go, but lives can't be replaced, material objects can. And it's better to just replace the house, fix whatever gets damaged, than risking somebody drowning over something that's avoidable.
The heavy rainfall caused furious flash floods east and west of Los Angeles.
My whole bottom floor was filled up with water, waste level.
In Cathedral City, California, Ronald Mendiola and his family ended up being rescued by someone who spotted them on the roof.
So eventually we went to the patio, second story patio, balcony, and from there on we decided to go on top of the roof with our best bet to shelter 5 of us with a 2.5-year-old baby. And we did make it to safety by a good Samaritan coming and actually passing by and picking us up, all 5 of us, from the roof.
As of Monday, no deaths were reported in the U.S. due to Hilary, which had reached hurricane strength off Mexico, and fears of widespread damage were dissipating. Richard Thompson is a meteorologist with the National Weather Service.
This is historic. This is the first landfalling tropical storm in Southern California since September 25th, 1939. It's just a combination of the atmospheric wind flow and also just the ocean temperatures, in the Eastern Pacific that allowed it to come up to the north there and eventually come on shore across San Diego and give us what was very, very significant rainfall for mid-August. Very significant.
The side of this road near Los Angeles collapsed from the effect of the rain and rushing water, as landslides and mudslides remained a concern. California Governor Gavin Newsom declared a state of emergency for much of Southern California, while President Joe Biden ordered federal agencies to move personnel and supplies into the region. Floodwaters inundated streets across Southern California on Monday after Storm Hilary unleashed record-breaking downpours over
Their race to explore and develop the moon's resources has begun, and Russia must remain a player despite the failure of its first lunar mission in 47 years. Head of Russia's space agency Roscosmos Yuri Borisov said.
Сегодня это носит еще и практическую ценность, потому что началась, безусловно, гонка за освоение природных ресурсов Луны. И в будущем Луна станет площадкой для освоения дальнего космоса, идеальной площадкой. Нужно сказать, что весь эксперимент проводился в зоне устойчивой радиосвязи. Мы знали все о положении корабля. Тем не менее, в 14 часов 57 минут связь с аппаратом прекратилась. Попытки восстановить связь оказались неудачными. Предварительные расчеты баллистические показали, что за счет нештатной работы корректирующей двигательной установки аппарат перешел на незамкнутую лунную орбиту и, по сути дела, врезался в поверхность Луны. Сегодня это носит еще и практическую ценность, потому что началась, безусловно, гонка за освоение природных ресурсов Луны. И в будущем Луна станет площадкой для освоения дальнего космоса, идеальной площадкой. Ну, нужно сказать, что весь эксперимент проводился в зоне устойчивой радиосвязи. Мы знали все о положении корабля. Тем не менее, в 14 часов 57 минут связь с аппаратом прекратилась. Попытки восстановить связь оказались неудачными. Предварительные расчеты баллистические показали, что за счет нештатной работы корректирующей двигательной установки аппарат перешел на незамкнутую лунную орбиту и, по сути дела, врезался в поверхность Луны. Сегодня это носит еще...
Saudi Arabian border guards have killed hundreds of Ethiopian migrants, including women and children, who attempted to enter the kingdom along its mountainous border with Yemen, Human Rights Watch said.
Human Rights Watch issued a new report Monday saying that Saudi Arabian border guards have killed at least hundreds of Ethiopian migrants who've attempted to enter the kingdom. Videos that have been verified by Human Rights Watch and analyzed by Reuters show several of them injured near the border between Yemen and Saudi Arabia. The rights group says Saudi guards used explosive weapons and shot at others from close range. Some of the videos show corpses and the digging of graves. Nadia Hardman is a researcher at Human Rights Watch and author of the report.
At Human Rights Watch, we've been documenting killings at the border by Saudi border guards of migrants and asylum seekers since 2014. But these were generally irregular. What we've seen is a dramatic escalation in the last few years. I can tell you that people told me that they witnessed, killing fields, bodies scattered all over the mountain area, people blown in half.
Mustafa Sofian Mohammed says he experienced one of the attacks firsthand. He says his group of 45 Ethiopians were near the end of a 3-day journey to the border last July when machine gun and grenade fire erupted from Saudi territory. He lost part of his leg. He's saying that 2 years ago he went to Saudi Arabia through Djibouti, thinking that he would find a job to change the life of his family and his own. I came back to my family empty-handed and with only one leg, he says. A Saudi official said on Monday in an emailed response that the allegations from Human Rights Watch are, quote, unfounded and not based on reliable sources. Saudi authorities have also strongly denied allegations by UN officials in 2022 that border guards systematically killed migrants last year. Human Rights Watch issued a new report Monday saying that Saudi Arabian border guard
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky predicted that Russia will lose the war that still rages in his country, one day after Denmark and the Netherlands promised to donate F-16 fighter jets to Ukraine.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said on Monday the promised delivery of F-16 fighter jets made him confident Ukraine will defeat Russia. Thousands of people gathered outside Parliament in Copenhagen to hear him speak.
Dear friends, today we are confident that Russia will lose this war.
Denmark and the Netherlands announced on Sunday they would supply the first US-made F-16s to Ukraine after Washington gave its approval. The first 6 jets are due to be delivered around New Year.
The main thing is what we prove with our victory, with our cooperation, what you prove supporting Ukraine. Together we prove that life is a value, that people matter, freedom matters, Europe matters.
Russia warned supplying the jets to Ukraine would only escalate the war. which has dragged on for a year and a half. Ukraine's Air Force said the jet was vital to the success of its counter-offensive, which has so far been slow, because it would prevent Russian fighter jets attacking advancing forces. Danish Defence Minister Jakob Ellemann-Jensen said Ukraine may only use the donated F-16s within its own territory. Denmark will deliver 19 jets in total. The Netherlands has 42 F-16s available, but has yet to decide whether to donate all of them. Zelensky has called the decision a breakthrough. Ukrainian pilots have begun training, Defence Minister Alexei Reznikov said on Saturday, but it will take at least 6 months to train engineers and mechanics.
Xi Jinping inspects the Guard of Honor at Mahalamba Nadlufu, the presidential place in Pretoria. The Chinese president is in South Africa for a state visit and to attend the BRICS summit, an association of emerging economic countries which includes Brazil, Russia, India, China and this year's host, South Africa. Images near Moscow show a high-rise residential building with several windows blown out, debris and a damaged car after a drone was downed over a residential building in the Krasnogorsk area. Russia's defense ministry says there were no casualties. A British nurse has been jailed for life with no prospect of release for murdering 7 newborn babies and attempting to kill 6 others while they were in her care. Lucky Lakeby, 33, was convicted of killing 5 baby boys and 2 baby girls, making her the UK's most prolific child serial killer in modern history. She was arrested following a string of baby deaths at the neonatal unit of the Countess of Chester Hospital in northwest England between June 2015 and June 2016.
Doing and sought to attribute some fault to others. You have no remorse. There are no mitigating factors. In their totality, the offences of murder and attempted murder were of exceptionally high seriousness, and just punishment, according to law, requires a whole life order. Over a period of just under 13 months, you killed 7 fragile babies and attempted to kill 6 others. Some of your victims were only a day or a few days old. All were extremely vulnerable. This was a cruel, calculated, and cynical campaign of child murder involving the smallest and most vulnerable of children, knowing that your actions were causing significant physical suffering and would cause untold wrongdoing, and sought to attribute some fault to others. You have no remorse. There are no mitigating factors. In their totality, the offences of murder and
Thailand's device ex-leader Thaksin Shinawatra arrives at Bangkok's Don Mueang Airport on Tuesday morning, where he is greeted by cheering supporters. Thaksin returned from 15 years in exile. Hours before a deadlocked parliament was due to vote for a new prime minister. Outside the presidential palace in Seoul, South Koreans protest the annual Yoji freedom sail drills held by their country and the United States. The exercises are aimed at countering growing threats from nuclear-armed North Korea, but those protesting believe they could spark a nuclear war at any moment. The drills continue until the end of August.
핵대결은 공멸 한미일 MD 훈련 반대한다. 유엔사
이번 연습은 한미 당국의 북한의 핵사용 시나리오를 상정한 확장 억제 수단 운용 연습 강화와 전략 자산을 운영하는 미 전략사령부와 합무 합참 간 확장 억제 수단 운영 연습 등의 확대에 대한 내용이 반영되어서 미국이 이미 실전 배치한 저위력 전술핵 무기를 운영을 포함한 대북 핵 선제 공격 연습으로 진행될 가능성이 높기 때문에 더욱더 위험천만한 연습입니다.
민족 공멸의 핵전쟁 불러오는 주한미군, 한국군 대만 문제 개입 반대한다. 예, 다음은 전쟁 연습 중단하라. 나토군의 한반도 개입한
이렇듯 2023 을지 자유방패의 연습은 한미가 핵과 첨단 재래식 전력을 동원한 초공세적 대규모 선제공격 훈련으로 언제라도 핵전쟁으로 비화될 수도 있는 휘발성이 큰 전쟁 연습이 아닐 수 없다. 이에 우리는 핵대결을 더욱 격화시키고 언제라도 핵전쟁으로 비화될 수 있는 일지 자유방패 연습의 즉각 중단과 폐지를 강력히 촉구한다.
핵법령 폐기하라! 불법적인 군사훈련 반대한다! 불법적인
A wildfire described as the worst in Tenerife in decades continues to burn out of control for almost a week, although authorities said the worst seemed to have passed.
Estábamos en el incendio prácticamente a nivel 2 a las 4:30 de la mañana para contar con todos los medios. Lo cierto es que la dirección
el ojo, el matorral, el tractor, y nosotros llegamos con el EIRMA.
El Gobierno de España se va a involucrar, como estamos haciendo desde el punto de vista ahora de la protección civil, en las labores de reconstrucción, de recuperación y de estabilización, no ya del incendio, pero sí del día a día de los ciudadanos y ciudadanas afectados en la isla de Tenerife.
Well, that was the wrap-up bulletin. For more updates, keep watching CVR English.